Tonight on the Mac to the Future Livecast, go! WWDC is right around the corner, and the big topic seems to be whether or not the Mac will go to ARM. I buy a cheap PC because my life wasn't nearly complicated enough, and along with the usual OS stuff, will Apple unveil a new Mac at, that developers conference. All of that tonight and more on the Mac to the Future Livecast. Go! And welcome, everyone, to the Mac to the Future Livecast. We are running just a little bit late, and there has been all kinds of drama tonight. We haven't even started yet. And my screen is frozen over in Facebook. Is everybody else still seeing it live, or is there bad things going on?
No, it's live.
Okay, good.
We're all fine except your face is still frozen.
Well, my face should be frozen. It should be frozen in amber. And saved for future generations.
Can you hear me now?
I can. Good. All right. Well, before we get started, how's everybody doing tonight? How you doing tonight, Warren?
I'm fine, actually. Yeah, all good. Wednesday? Is it Wednesday?
It is Wednesday.
Yeah. All right. I got a couple new toys. And
what did you get? I bet one of them was not a microphone.
No, I am never.
We're going to keep harping on you about microphones.
We're going to keep harping you about that.
Never replacing this microphone. It was free and it was good. So my new backpack came today because it was like $30 instead of $200 on Amazon because I just go on these websites that tell me what's on sale. Tomorrow.
When are you forwarding those to me?
I have a collection of backpacks.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I do too.
It's pretty sad. My wife
I'm
is
looking
actually
at them right now.
Yeah, my wife is kind of mad at me for all the backpacks. So anyways, I got that coming, and then tomorrow, on the site that I go to that has all the stuff, I got a one of those SSD drive enclosures, so the long the NV ones. So
yeah,
the long skinny one.
Yeah.
So then I realized I don't have a drive to put in there, so I bought a drive to put in there. And,
why did you get the enclosure if you didn't have the drive?
So the long story is I got something called a line dock, and a line dock is pretty cool. It basically is you've seen them advertised, but basically it's
seen on TV.
No, it's the size of I should get it out, but I'm not getting it out. It's about the size of the bottom piece of a MacBook, and like a thin one, and it has a battery in it. It has a USB-C connection. It has all the ports you can need, and it also has a 500 gigabyte SSD and VRAM drive in it. And it's pretty neat, but the drive is kind of slow in that thing, so it's removable. So I took it out and I put it on dock and it didn't work, and I'm like, screw it. So I just bought a new drive. Anyhow, and then Dave, on Saturday, my case for the case is arriving. So the case.
So we got something to talk about.
We got something to talk about a week from Wednesday. So basically, I got a leather
just in
cover
case.
From I got the leather cover from Pat and Quill, which is kind of like a really fancy Apple leathery thing. So basically, it somehow wraps around the Magic trackpad keyboard thing. So
does it come with a microphone?
It does not come with the microphone.
Damn it. Okay, Dave, how you doing? Oh, nice.
Oh, he got a.
I have to show my toys. I am doing great. Things are.
Does it come with like a D-cell battery or something?
Yeah. I too bought a toy, but I didn't spend a lot of money. I spent $11. But this is a really big lens that goes on your iPhone.
God, it's bigger than the iPhone.
I know. I haven't taken any pictures with it yet. This was actually under the recommendation of Allison Sheridan. So she did a review on it. So I said, yeah, what the heck? they're sold out now. So it comes with a kit. You get those small wide angle lens like that one too. Yeah. So anyway, that was what I did. That's my new toy, and I'm doing well. Thank you. And we now have matching mics.
Well, for tonight anyway. I used this.
Like this. We can go both of us go like this, and then he's in the middle. So
well, if we turn up our gain, it'll pick him up too.
That's true.
My mic is perfect, and it was free. And should I get another mic for real? I'll get another mic.
Yes.
Well, if he got one of these, he'd also need an audio interface and all kinds of.
Yeah.
I have the audio interface. Remember, I got one with my guitar. I showed it to you.
Oh, was that from iRig or JK
Yeah.
Multimedia?
I think so. It's a red one. It's got like a red boxy thing, and it's got.
If
we
I
talked
have
about
any-
it. I have one, and I don't know what to do with it.
No, don't.
It's in the basement
Okay.
now. Yeah.
Where it shall
it's-
remain
it's-
evermore.
We'll bring it up from the basement with a mic.
Okay. We're having so much fun tonight.
We are.
So fun now.
Frank likes to buy things too.
We
yeah,
have
well,
Frank did.
who doesn't?
He's a buyer.
Man, we got 10 people in our chat room.
Holy cow! How
Well, there's
the
nothing-
heck did that happen?
There's nothing else to do.
Yeah, I know. It's really, really sad when the most fun thing you have to do is watching the three of us. That's of course it's not quite as sad as the three of us, but we're going to move on from that because now I'm getting depressed.
I'm one of the three, and I still don't want to watch that. So.
Yeah, well, wise guy, you see, wise guy. All right, I don't have any quick takes. You guys have any quick stories you want to talk about?
No, we got enough to talk about.
Okay. Moving on to the main stories. Saw this and it kind of intrigued me. There's talk of a new iMac coming up at possibly WWDC. The iMac's current design has been around for a while, so it makes sense that Apple might be thinking it's time for a major refresh. Putting aside talk of new ARM processors for now, what do we think is due for one of the longest selling Macs out there? And let's start with Dave. Dave, what would you like to see in a new iMac?
Well, I like our link, of course, the next story. This is a Mac World, but Mac Rumors is talking about it too. I like the fact that it potentially could get designed just like the the iPad, excuse me,
That would
the
be a tiny
iPad Pro.
iMac.
Yeah, as far as the designing goes, edges, the way it's going to be designed, and I'd be intrigued to see how they get all that stuff in there really small and thin, because that's the big thing, and people are loving these machines because of the all-in-one design and the large size 27-inch screen, and look at
So
us.
you think they're
I'm
going to
using a
add?
laptop?
You think they're going to add a touch screen to the iMac?
No.
No.
No way. I don't think Apple will ever do touchscreen.
Okay, well then I missed something. What was it you were saying you wanted to see?
No, I like this. What I see, I like how I see it's thin and how they're going to get all those components in there.
Oh, okay, okay.
As a powerful desktop computer using, but the thing is, we'll be talking about the ARM processors in a minute. I mean, is if they go to ARM, that means the processors are going to get smaller, even more and smaller in size, and it's going to be interesting to see where that goes. But I we actually talked about this last night on Chuck's Chuck Joyner's show. We were talking, and I think it's just going to be interesting to see where they could definitely go with these iMacs, because it hasn't had a redesign in quite a long time, and I mean it's already pretty small and pretty.
Well, I mean, it's what, 2014 was when they came out with the knife edge design.
Yeah, the design. So,
I think
and they just, is it 2012? They just upgraded the chips. That's all they would really be doing over the last 4 or 5 years. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think this dub's gonna be not only interesting in the fact that it's virtual, the fact that all this stuff's gonna get announced, and I'm pretty psyched.
Okay, Warren, do you think of anything you'd like to see in a new iMac?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't care about the touchscreen. The only thing that comes to mind is Microsoft has something called a Surface Studio, and the Surface Studio is kind of neat in the way it kind of moves around. And I know without touch interface, it doesn't matter that much because the Surface Studio kind of bends, and it's got like this weighted hinge. It's basically a big monitor on this weighted hinge, and you could kind of easily move it up and down, things like that. Which is nice if you want to like use the pencil to draw on it. But knowing Apple, they'll come up with some alternative way to, get drawing on the screen without touching it. They'll have like, you'll use your iPad on the side, and your iPad will be the drawing device or whatever. They'll do something like that. But anyways, thinner than what it is. If you remember, the design did change once with the thinner screen.
Right.
They actually, strangely enough, the older models had a layer of glass that you could actually detach with like a suction cup. You could pull the layer of glass off the front, and then you could kind of get into the innards and sort of go that way. Then they hermetically sealed it with the like glue, so you couldn't do that anymore after they went thinner. So, how cool would it be to have like something as thin as an iPad and a 27-inch screen that's just as powerful? I mean, everybody will complain that now you definitely can't upgrade anything at this point because you just can't.
Well,
but
Apple's already at that point.
But being able to have something that thin and light and just kind of be able to move around room to room with the power of an iMac would be cool.
Well, I don't know if I could see moving even if it was really super thin and light, a 27-inch screen moving around from room to room and all the rest of the stuff that goes along with it. I guess at some point, depending on what kind of power suck there is for the screen, you could make it like a portable wireless device where you could, I guess, take it and go sit on the couch with it in your lap and just have this huge ass screen with like a virtual keyboard on the bottom.
Or you could have the thing with the magic keyboard, and the thing you basically would be like the iPad now with the magic keyboard, except instead of iPad OS, it runs Mac OS and is bigger, and it just detaches and you just move it around if you want. Yeah. Although I don't know why you would do that, but you could.
Okay, well let's let's move on.
Or they won't change anything. It'll just be the same as last year.
Let's just say it's going to be interesting to see what they announce.
Yeah, and so much of this, of course, I mean, it's all speculation, but a lot of this is going to depend on whether or not they actually do move the Mac line to ARM processors, which we are going to get to that, believe it or not. Real quick, let's talk about WWDC. Now, being a developers conference, they try to focus more on software, though of course that also leads to speculation on hardware as well. Hence, talking about the iMac. There was I don't know if it was an accidental release or one of those accidentally on purpose release of iOS 14.
Accidental early release.
Yeah. And some of the things they're talking about, I don't understand why they would do it on such a small screen, like this list view for applications. Why would you do that on such a small screen?
Well, it would look like the watch, which is even a smaller screen.
Well, that's not necessarily a good thing either. I don't use a lot of apps on my watch because it is such a small screen. So go ahead.
But the list view itself is an easy way to kind of scroll through it. Not that I use that many apps either, but I mean it's basically the same concept. I don't know if you change but the watch has two views. It has the one that used to be standard, which was the circle. I forgot what they call it, but everything was kind of like in circles, and you had to pick where, and everybody hated it. So then they changed to the list view, which is what most people have it set to now, where it just basically lists all the things as you scroll down, up and down. the thing. So on the iPhone, I think it would be kind of the same thing. You have this home screen, and then basically you just have a list, a view of all your icons, and you could kind of scroll up and down
Mhm.
the list and pick what you want. And the rumor says the most used ones will kind of hover near the top, and the Siri suggestions will hover by the top too. And
So it's
you know,
Apple kind of making the decision for you
uh,
based on your usage, but it's still kind of on their choice.
I'm sure you. I mean, just like now, you could turn off the Siri suggestions and probably the most used stuff too. I'm sure you could turn that off if you just want an alphabetical list. I mean, whatever they do, it's. I mean, it's something. They haven't changed the home screen in ever, so it'd be
It
nice
is more or
to
less
see
the same as it was in 2007, except for folders.
Yeah.
It's expanded. But then a comment that Ed just said, I absolutely love the list view on the Apple Watch. I can't stand the grid view with the
Yeah, that was the icon view. Yeah, that's what it
icon
was.
view,
No, I like taking my fingers and like blowing it up.
yeah.
It's on the little watch there.
Yeah.
Hey, Siri,
yeah,
I
yeah.
did not call for you. So Siri just decides to say she's gonna come.
Of course. You keep saying her name. It's your fault.
I didn't even say anything. I touched my watch. I touched my watch, and she got mad. Hey Warren,
Don't touch me there.
Hey,
I see you
Day
touching
Warren,
your
don't
watch.
touch me there.
Again.
Don't touch me.
Okay. Hey Siri's
Can't
coming
touch
off right
this.
now.
Okay. And this sounds, they're talking about fitness apps, working on a fitness app that will let users download guided workout videos on the iPhone, iPad, Apple TV, and Apple Watch. Does anybody remember those built-in guitar and piano lessons that they were including with GarageBand?
Yeah.
Anybody use them?
I remember them. I never used them.
I downloaded them.
And did you ever use them?
Yeah, once.
I watched them once, and then it was like, okay.
They were by known artists. Like I think I forgot who it was. It wasn't Ed Sheeran, but Ed Sheeran. But it was famous artists that kind of gave you lessons on the piano, and it was kind of neat for 20 minutes.
Okay. Talking about making messages the same across both major platforms, iOS and the Mac, is that, I guess for some people, messages is broken because they have two different experiences depending on what kind of computer they're on. I don't know. That's never really bothered me. That's never been a thing for me.
What, using messages on your Mac?
Yeah, as compared to using messages in iOS or in iPads.
I use them both. Yeah, I mean, I don't see it being a huge difference.
They're different in some ways.
Yeah, different, but yeah.
The one thing I like, I've discovered now that if you're using iMessage and everybody uses iMessage on the on your iOS devices, instead of replying, you could do the like now. You could like that comment.
Yeah.
And now that's just the thing I do all the time now because it just saves me from having
Put a
to
little
type the response.
ha or whatever. Yeah.
Or the thumbs up. So that I like because I'm a man of little words, and that
Small
works for me.
words.
Small words.
But the Mac app doesn't. The Mac Messages app doesn't do it.
Right. Because you
So
have to.
that
How are you going to tap and hold to get it to come up? Because you can't do that on a Mac, and the mouse
right.
doesn't
But
do it.
even if you right click on it or something, I mean something should change. So
Yeah.
So that'd
Yeah.
be a welcome that they would do that.
yeah, they're porting it. They're doing the catalyst. They're catalysting it.
Okay. AR apps. Apple may be planning to introduce a new AR app in iOS 14, which could allow users to see more about the world around them using AR. Yeah. I'm excited.
Well, augmented reality's been here, but it's going to expand even further.
Because reality bites. Augmented
Oh,
reality
certainly
bites.
this
It
year
does.
does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, and I could actually see it, with the way 2020 has been, it's like, well, let's see, I can stay in 2020 with all the crap that's going on around me, or
Yeah. well,
I could
this is
become
the
a
year to do it.
master assassin that's jumping from building to building.
This is
Hey.
the year to do it. I mean, I think if we all had the option to plug into the Matrix and be
And have that delicious steak that's about that thick.
and be servants of the artificial intelligent computers that took over the world, I think we do it. I mean, I would.
Do we know if that's hasn't already happened? Would we even realize it?
We would not realize it. I don't think. I've thought about it too. We could be part of the Matrix. This could be a dream, but it'd be a pretty crazy.
Well,
dream.
I think.
Why would the artificial intelligence hate us so bad this year?
Because I don't know. Somebody peed in their cornflakes. Who knows? You pee in an artificial intelligence cornflakes, and they're not going to be very happy with you. All right.
The coronas.
Oh yeah,
You get
moving
coronas.
on.
It's like, dude, I don't like you anymore. Third-party default apps. Users may be able to set third-party apps as the default mail, browser, and music apps on their devices in lieu of Apple's own apps. I don't know about unless these third-party apps adhere to Apple's guidelines with all their ties into Apple's services. I don't see them allowing that. Not short of a lawsuit.
We talked about this last week on In Touch with iOS.
Okay.
I think because I did a review on third-party browsers.
Mhm.
You have Firefox, you have Google Chrome, or the top two, and Microsoft Edge, and all of them are awesome apps. I mean, they got some great things, and I think Apple's getting a lot of pressure when it comes to the fact that they're monopolizing and not allowing to be open, allowing people to have choices on their platforms. I mean, just like on the Mac, you can choose what browser you want as your default. It doesn't have to be Safari. It can be it can be Firefox. It can be Edge. Why not on iOS? Why can't that be as well? So I definitely think I see that this change is going to happen in iOS 14 because it's time, and people want to be able to use a different browser. More power to them. And Firefox, Edge, and Chrome are all very good on iOS. It works really well. So I definitely think this is going to happen. And on the mail, now if you go on the mail side of things, I think it's got some work to go do yet. And although Outlook is very good, and they've got a lot of other mail apps that are out there besides on the mail side of things. But yeah, I think that they need to open that up too. I think it's going to happen. I see it happening.
Okay. Apple Pencil. Apple working on a feature that will allow users to handwrite text in any text input field using the Apple Pencil. Welcome to 2011, Apple. With the handwritten content then converted into standard text before it's sent. Wow. I'm so excited. It's like the future is here some time ago.
Yeah.
All right.
I think I don't know. I think I heard it a little. The story I heard was a little different, where it was just going to be on some websites, more or less, and it was going to be more for like if you need to sign a document or something like that, it would open up an option to use a pencil to sign. But who knows? Steve and his pencil sharpening finger.
Fate.
Steve, yeah. Steve Jobs said nobody's going to use a stylus on an iPhone unless they sharpen their fingers. It'd be like sharpening your fingers and making a pointer out of it.
Well, that would be
making bacon.
That would not be good for your fingers. All right, moving on to WatchOS. I don't want to spend a lot of time here. Share your face. WatchOS will allow users to share specific watch face configurations with one another. Yay, sharing. Infograph Pro watch face is a new watch face that includes a tachymeter. A tachymeter is used to compute speed based on travel time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just keep going.
International Apple Watch face watch face. Not awkwardly worded at all. That will show flags from different countries. Photo watch faces created from photos that can be you from a shared album. Parental controls so that your kids, stay under your thumb. School time allows parents to manage which apps and complications can be used during. I don't know who wrote this, but it's really, really not well read. I just copied this right out of an article.
Somebody who didn't go to school time.
Obviously, missed school time. Control Center will feature new toggles for sleep mode and noise detection. Architecture and Watch OS 7 apps are no longer based on extensions, which is a holdover from when apps required a phone app to function. That was eliminated in OS 6. And now in watchOS 7, apps will not have an extension base. So all of those watch apps that you purchased that required an extension base, they're not going to work anymore.
Okay.
This blood oxygen tracking. According to code found in a leaked version of iOS 14, Apple is working on watchOS 7 and a Watch Series 6 feature that will allow the Apple Watch to detect blood oxygen levels. It's not entirely clear if the feature will be limited to new Apple Watch Series 6 devices or if it will come as a software update for older watches, as it may be possible for older Apple Watches to detect blood oxygen levels.
Yeah, they're also looking to do something with.
How does that even work? How does it do that?
There's a thing you put on your finger right now that does that. The clip that goes on your finger, that's how they do the blood oxygen. So how does that work? I don't know.
No, I mean that they use that for like blood pressure.
No. There's something that you put on your finger for blood oxygen.
Really?
I don't know how. Yeah.
Well, golly, Shazam!
I don't know how that works, but
Me either.
They've been talking about doing testing glucose levels too, the blood sugar.
Oh, so like for like diabetes and stuff.
Right.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm not necessarily objecting to it. It's just like it was like unless you've got something that's invasive. How does okay? I don't know how it works. It's like it's freaking magic. It's FM.
It's magic. So there's still nothing about sleeping.
Freaking magic.
Sleep tracking, which is weird, because sleep tracking was supposed to be a big thing too.
There was rumors of devices that were released too.
Yeah.
Sleep tracking. So.
Well, I could certainly use a new CPAP machine. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Sleep tracking.
Maybe you could just hook it right to track it right from your iPhone.
You take your watch and you just like slap it on your forehead, and if you start to snore, little electrodes come out and zap you, force you to.
For. Yeah. I have
yeah.
I have a CPAP machine.
Years of that.
I have
all
a
three
CPAP
of us do.
Yeah, but mine. Can you do Bluetooth? Mine has Bluetooth, and I can see
yes,
my.
I am doing Bluetooth.
Oh, and the funny thing now, my wife snores like a buffalo. And when I say anything about it, all she does is, well, that's what I went through for years. And it's like, it's not exactly the point, but okay. You know, the things that you put up with.
Damon in
all
the
sides.
chat. Damon in the chat.
You're following the chat
knows a little bit more about blood oxygen than we do. It's a SAT. He says it's a SAT meter functionality. SAT meter the use of absorption of light to determine the percent of dissolved oxygen in blood. So I guess somehow it looks at the light bouncing off your veins, and it could decide by that how much of that is actually blood and how much of it is actually oxygen in the blood.
I am not creeped out by that at all. No, not at all. I think that's wonderful.
It is good.
All right.
And a license. Dave, I wonder if our $18 watch will do that too.
I'm guessing no.
You know the one I still have in the box I haven't opened yet?
You haven't even opened it? Oh, that's funny.
Mine's in the drawer. It's never going to see the light of day. Guy, do you want?
No, I actually do not. I really, really don't.
Hey, you need a watch? There you go. I got it
It's right there. There it is. $18 smartwatch.
Never open.
There you go.
It's not that smart, but it's $18.
It's not bad for $18.
But yet, Dave hasn't
lens.
even taken it out of the box, and yours is sitting in a drawer.
It was for science.
It goes with my
Science.
$11 lens.
We bought it for science.
Bought it for science.
Okay,
I like that.
Take one
Science.
for the team.
Your watch blinded you with science. Boo, boo, boo. Okay, let's talk about Mac going to ARM.
Wait,
now, this has been...
We've been waiting for this, but that's why we have that many people in the chat room right now. Just waiting for you to hear about it. 16 people in this chat room right now, buddy.
I was the biggest proponent of the Mac going to ARM for a long time.
This is
until last December. Yeah, I know. Until last December when they finally released the Mac Pro. And the moment they did that, I was off of the Mac ARM bus. And now every website that's out there is saying that it's going to happen.
Yep.
And I guess we'll find out in a couple of weeks when WWDC starts on, what is it, the 22nd, I think?
A week from Monday.
Okay.
Wow. Nice.
Until Tim Cook stands there on stage, or one of his Apple minions stands there on stage and says the Mac is going to ARM, I'm not going to believe it.
All right.
Yeah, it could happen. I mean, and I get what you were saying, but if they were going to do this, are they just not going to release new hardware until it happens? I mean,
Well, until the entire line is ready to go to ARM, it would make no sense to put any money into any new Macs, because certainly there's going to be very, very few people who are going to buy new Macs that are basically going to be obsolete from the date of purchase. What would be the point of buying a brand new 16-inch MacBook Pro that you know in 2 years, or maybe 3 on the higher end of the scale, you won't be able to put the new OS in it, because by that time they would have gone to all ARM on Mac OS.
Well, you're making a couple of assumptions. And
of
the
course,
first assumption you're making is that older Macs running on Intel will just not work and be obsolete. I mean,
I'm mostly basing this on previous experiences with Apple changing processors, which has happened twice now. When they went to PowerPC, within 2 or 3 years, you couldn't install the latest version of Mac OS onto a Motorola 68K based Mac computer.
But
When they went to Intel by 2007, 2008, they had pretty much eliminated all of the PowerPC code base from Mac OS.
Right, but are they going to just stop selling? I mean, if Apple didn't release a new product on the Mac line for 2 years, people would probably not like that either.
It wouldn't be 2 years. If Apple's going to do this, they'll have at the very least announcements for an entire new line of ARM-based Mac computers 6 months after the announcement. And within a year, the entire line will have switched over to ARM, because they're not going to do dual processor OS. They're not going to do it for long.
Well,
and they're certainly not going to, they're not going to release hardware that's dual processor.
They're not going to cut support to the older machines that quickly either. I mean, they can't.
Imagine that.
That would be. I mean, I know you said
ludicrous.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy.
So, I mean, if they announced the whole line of ARM-based Macs in 2022 or whatever, it's going to be years before the current models of Macs are not,
2 to 3 years.
Nah, I can't see that.
And and it would be even less time for newer software, because most of the developers would be pushing toward going to an all ARM code base, because it wouldn't make any sense for them to continue to support Intel based Macs. Why would they?
Yeah.
I don't know, but they would. Somehow they would make it work. And for all we know, that the new code on the ARM-based Macs will be cross-platform and work on the Intel stuff. Who knows?
Well, it will. I mean, when they did the switch to Intel, there was a compatibility layer for older PowerPC applications.
But I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about compatibility layer. I'm talking about, just people coding is different now, and people could code. There's ways to code for different type of platforms at the same time at this point. I don't know if that's possible here, but.
Well, look at it this way. They released Catalyst last year, which was supposed to be or allow iOS and iPadOS developers to port their applications to the Mac.
Catalina.
Well, no, Catalyst was the environment for porting the applications between the two platforms.
Right. Sorry.
And very, very few developers did it. Now, one of the things that I've heard talked about for WWDC has been there's supposed to be a better version of Catalyst coming out. And if there is a better version of Catalyst coming out, then maybe that could help replace. I mean, there'll be some developers, probably no major ones, but if Apple does go all ARM, and they know this, there will be some developers who will just throw up their hands and say, you know what, it's just not worth it for us to support the Mac anymore, and they'll go away. So you'll need applications to replace a lot of those apps, and if they improve Catalyst to the point where you can go from an iOS-based application on ARM to a macOS application on ARM relatively easily, well, then that could help transition the platform away from Intel-based applications.
They're going to have a plan. They're not going to, I mean, not everybody's like me and buys a new computer every year. So they can.
You mean every day? I thought it was every day. Wasn't it every day?
Every other day. Well, it's been about a week.
Wow, it's like deja vu. It's like deja vu right here.
But for the people who keep their computers for a couple of years, they're not going to.
Like me.
They're going to find a way. I guarantee they're going to find a way.
They have to
work.
I mean, we didn't even talk about the fact when this got rumored out as an announcement, Apple stock went up $10 a share. I mean, it's at its highest ever, and so people are very excited, anticipating what is going to be announced. I mean, I'm looking at what the stock was today. It's at 352. It was 341 yesterday. So the stock is just going like crazy gangbusters. This is crazy. So obviously, people are excited about this new announcement. The fact that it's not a new announcement.
Well, the rumored
announcement.
Yeah,
because Apple is going to take their processor in house. They're going to be in control of everything that happens on the Mac. They're not at the mercy of Intel. They will not be at the mercy of Intel any longer.
And lower the price of the Macs.
Yeah, that's funny.
My only concern is going to be is. My only concern is going to be is how is this going to get transitioned over, and like you guys were saying, I mean, I can't see Apple just abandoning the Intel people out there. I mean, I've got this machine. I'm not ready to turn it in anytime soon. I just bought it.
Yeah, I just bought a 2018 MacBook Air.
I have the 2019.
I wonder where you got that one.
I don't know.
So Ed says Ed is, and he does a little bit of programming too, but he's saying just hitting
he's had some good comments.
He said just hitting the recompile button on the next code will be enough to change transition code from Intel to ARM, and that's kind of what I was getting at. There's got to be there's going to be an easier way. They're going to introduce, if it's not already out there, an easy way for developers to develop on both platforms for a while, and for Apple to continue putting out the updates for both platforms for a while. It's not going to work otherwise, and it's going to be. I think it's just going to be a seamless. You're not going to. You wouldn't necessarily know the difference of whether you're on ARM or Intel machine, as a user, and hopefully that's the case. And of course,
okay.
As long as we got good
like you're not believing any of us, but I mean, I could promise you this: Apple as a company and Tim Cook as a CEO is not going to come out and say, "All right, we're going to ARM next year, and everybody else with the Intel Mac,
screw you."
Done." Yeah.
Well, like we said, there'll be a compatibility layer that will last for a couple of years, and then all those people that are on Intel Macs will be expected to switch over to an ARM-based product. But let me throw something at you here. And I was thinking about this earlier today. What if it's not an ARM-based Mac? What if it's a new platform altogether that can merge some of the best parts of iOS with a touch-based interface macOS with a Microsoft was able to do it. Beep, beep, beep. Microsoft was able to do it with the Surface. People hated
they
it
just have,
for a
but
while.
they still have one operating system. I don't think Apple's going to have iOS, Mac OS, and this hybrid OS out there, along with watch and TV and all that stuff. So it's too much. And when it comes to that, it will be a product that will cannibalize a different product that they have, and that's not going to work for them. So
they've always done that.
Like how?
They've always released products that cannibalize their own products. Steve Jobs even famously made a quote about it. Says, if anyone's going to steal sales from us, it's going to be us.
Well, what have they done recently that does that?
Well, I can give you some good examples. The iPod was basically destroyed by the iPhone.
Recently.
Okay, well, I couldn't give you a recent because Apple has been relatively static as far as the kinds of stuff that they've. I mean, the last absolute brand new thing that they came out with that was major was the watch, and there wasn't any other significant smart devices that were out there like watches that of any real value before the watch came out. The Apple Watch came out. Same thing with
but
with
why
the iPad.
Why a whole other category if they're trying to make iOS or iPad OS more like what you're trying to say might come.
Well, what if that's what this is about? What if the iPad OS instead of the Mac going to ARM, iPad OS just gets a lot of the features of the Mac?
Well, it has been.
Little by little.
No, I mean it's got some of it already on the iPad OS.
Yeah, what else can I do?
I mean, just it's got the mouse support. I mean,
better file system would be nice.
Well,
you have you have files.
We'll find out with iPad OS 14.
Yeah, the file system's going to get better just naturally.
It's going to take time.
Yeah, I don't think that this rumor means that, and I don't think Apple.
No, I don't think it does either. But
I don't think Apple's going to come up with in between something. So what people get wrong with Microsoft with the Surface and Windows is they say, oh, they release the Surface and it's a tablet operating system. It's not. It's Windows. It's Windows, just like a Windows laptop.
It's a desktop operating system with a touch interface, basically sewed on with a blunt needle and cotton thread.
Right, but the Surface isn't the only thing that has a touch interface. There's plenty of Windows devices that have laptops that have a touch interface. So the Surface is just a laptop. It's just a laptop with a detachable keyboard. And I've had this argument before with people that, what constitutes a laptop as a laptop, right? So I have a Surface. I have a Surface Go 2 that I bought.
Mm-hmm.
It runs Windows 10, the full version. I could take the keyboard off, which has a trackpad on it. If I take the keyboard off, is it a tablet now? If I put the keyboard on, is it a laptop? Does it matter? Does it matter I think my personal feeling is the operating system determines what it is. So if it's a full-blown operating system like Windows or Mac OS, or even in some capacity Chrome OS, it's a laptop. But some people don't understand that, and they'll feel like if it's a touchscreen with a detachable keyboard, then it's a tablet. If I took my MacBook Air or your MacBook Air that you have,
not my MacBook Air.
Let's take your MacBook Air, and somehow we could detach the keyboard from it and make
just
it
right over your knee.
Well, now it's a tablet.
Not a very functional tablet, but it's a tablet nonetheless.
Exactly.
Bluetooth keyboard, anyone?
Hey, Ed made a good comment about the Mac Pros, and he's saying no reason there could be high-end Mac Pros with the high-end Xeon chips for the foreseeable future. So it's possible that they're going to slowly go into this. The Pros may still hold on to the Xeon processors for now and for the next couple of years. It's really hard to say that. I mean, it's really going to pay what the people who have the Pros obviously need the mass power. Is the ARM up for that challenge? That's going to be the other thing we'll find out too.
I don't know. I don't believe that Apple wants to support more than one processor for any of their platforms.
Of course they don't.
I think
they have
that adds a layer of
No.
complexity that no company really needs.
So is the
Microsoft-
ARM is the
Yeah.
ARM up for the challenge to handle what processing speeds they need for the Mac Pro?
It
Windows-
depends on
Windows 10
how many cores can you throw at something. You know, I mean, really, we're the speed of a processor is now basically irrelevant. It really doesn't matter. How
Windows
many
has-
how many processors you have doesn't really matter, because it's basically software isn't going multi-processor aware, it's going multi-core aware. So it's how many cores can you throw at a process to make that process easier for the overall computing device that you have to accomplish.
To answer your question, I think Apple would love to have their operating system run on as many processors as possible. I think it just it gives you more options, and Microsoft is doing it too. They have Windows on Intel, they have Windows on ARM, they have they have a Qualcomm processor too that has their mobile. They have a mobile version of Windows that runs on Qualcomm. So, hey, more vendors, more ability to put their product out. They have this new thing coming out, with the Surface X, which doesn't run on Intel. I don't think it's on something else, but they could do it. If Microsoft could do it, Apple could do it. Apple could develop, keep their platform running until it doesn't need to run on that anymore.
They
not gonna be hard for
could.
them.
I think it's the question of would they?
Yeah, they would, to keep their existing base alive, and to, and you know what? Even when they do release new ARM MacBooks, they're still going to be, they're not going to release a whole lineup at the same time, I don't think. And people are going to there's going to be two to pick from, and it's going to be.
I think it's messy, and if Apple
Yeah.
is anything, they're not, or they try to avoid being messy. And,
Let's bring
How
it
would
to
you do
this. We'll see. We'll see
Yeah.
where it goes. Like you said, we agree with you, Guy. It's just when Tim Cook makes that announcement next.
That's when we'll know.
Monday, that's when we'll know.
right.
And
Okay.
the announcement more to get the developers to start thinking about it. If
Yeah.
anything, it's not going to be like
Now,
and one last thing. the
why did you buy a
ARM
Windows PC?
iMac.
That's the one last thing I want to know.
You want? I actually had absolutely no intention of buying a Windows PC.
And what did you buy
Well, I saw this guy on Facebook.
on the street?
No, it was on Facebook.
I'm kidding.
What the heck was his name? Or is his name, because he's not dead. It's Dylan.
Windows
I'll give
lover
him a plug here. Dylan Dissel Cohen, DISSELKOEN. And I guess on the side he gets these business class old Windows machines, refurbs them, and then sells them.
Oh,
So he had it was a 2013 Dell Optiplex 3010, 3.2 gigahertz
Yeah, they're good desktops.
quad core i5, 8 gigs of RAM, 500 gig spindle drive
It's no
for
Surface Go.
$100,
Okay.
running Windows 10.
How much RAM?
$100, 8 gigs of RAM.
Okay.
And and for another, it was like $15-20. He threw in a 2 gigabyte video card of, no great shakes, but it was a 2 gigabyte video card with
enough.
DVI and HDMI. So with shipping, it was like $140. Yeah, spinning
It was
drive.
a spinning drive, and I heard
Right.
you talking to Gaz that you're putting an SSD in, and
Yeah. Oh God.
that's easy. I do that in my sleep.
Well, I
Put
couldn't
an
figure
SSD
it
drive
out.
in there?
No, putting the drive in is easy. It's getting. This is a small form factor computer, so it's got one drive bay.
Yeah, I heard you
And-
talking about cloning. Why are you cloning? Just reinstall Windows 10.
This
Do a fresh
install
install.
Windows 10. If it has a dedicated key, you don't.
Well,
you don't have
that's
to worry about that
basically
crap
what I
anymore.
ended up doing. But the
does
problem
have
was
a
I
dedicated
had
installer.
a 500 gig SSD.
Mm-hmm.
Put that into an external enclosure, connected it up via USB, and
So you
I
clone.
was thinking like a Mac user. So I went through like all
You
these
want to
hoops.
boot off it.
Yeah. So I went through all these hoops to try to clone the existing
You have
drive.
two guys who support Windows and we're laughing at you.
I know, of course you are.
Giggling.
It doesn't work like that.
No, it
Work
doesn't.
like that.
And and like I said, I was thinking like a Mac user, and I found some program. I don't even want to say what it was, but I found some program that supposedly was going to make this work.
Ease
So-
US probably.
Sorry.
Ease US.
There's a whole cloner.
Yeah, that may have been
That's
it.
the one.
So
That's the one that always comes
I did it, and then I took out the spindle drive and I put because I mean it's only a 2.5 inch drive versus the 3.5.
Oh, how much time you spent doing that? You could have just done a clean install.
No, it was relatively quick to change out the drive, but then of course it wouldn't boot because it didn't have a boot drive in it. So then I'm on my Mac and I'm thinking, well, how can I boot this computer over a network like I can in recovery mode on the Mac? And I quickly found out that you can't. It's not that easy. So most of the
Not
advice
that
I saw was to get a USB stick, go to
Guy, we know how to do
some
this.
friend's house. I know, but I'm taking you through this journey. This
Okay,
journey of discovery.
Yes.
Take a USB stick, go to a working Windows computer, download Windows 10 onto the USB stick, and then boot off the
creation tool.
USB stick.
You got a media creation tool.
And
you
how many
make the
hours
stick,
did you
boot
spend
off
on
the
this?
thing.
Oh, so many hours. But I mean, I've been at home now for so long. It's like I'm looking for things to do. It's these ridiculous things to do. And I've been a Mac user since 1987. So I'm saying, well, this can't be this hard. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh my God, why do people put themselves through this bullshit? Anyway, so I just did it again. So
You got two beeps.
I know. Well, I'm not going to bother. We're all adults here. Well, with some exceptions.
It's our
So-
biggest audience too.
So if I curse, I guess that brings people in. Great, thumbs up. So, I finally gave up. It was like, okay, so I took the computer
Really?
apart
Wow.
again, and I put the spindle drive back in. And what I did after that was because it had a DVD write drive that was on the same bus. So I took out the DVD write drive, connected up the SSD to the same bus as what the spindle drive was on, and then did what I should have done in the first place, which was install Windows 10 onto the SSD while the spindle drive was also running Windows 10. That worked.
Why would you need the spindle drive in there?
So that I could boot the computer and be
No,
able.
you gotta boot. You boot off the USB. You change.
I
the
didn't.
BIOS,
I
boot off-
couldn't get it to work. I could not install
F12.
anything
Oh,
using
BIOS.
using just the
F-
Mac OS.
F12. What?
Using
F12.
that's the only working computer I had here in the house. Was one running the Mac OS?
You have the Windows installer, guy. Stop for a second. You made this. You went to a friend's.
You
got
made the thumb
Windows
drive,
installer.
right?
No, I didn't. I don't have
okay, well,
anyone
that's
around
different.
here that I know that I could
That's
take
different.
this to and say, trust me enough to put this USB stick into your computer while everyone is stuck at home with
Guy,
nothing
can I
to
ask-
do.
Guy,
Yeah.
don't you have a computer with boot camp on it?
No, I'd taken that off a long time ago because
You were playing,
Well,
you were
let-
playing
let-
Steam
let-
every
understand
single time I tried to boot into Boot Camp,
with
it
parallels?
tried-
You saw parallels.
no, it
parallels.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I
No,
would
it
try
doesn't
to
matter.
boot
Do you have
into
parallels?
Windows. Yes,
Do you have
I
parallels?
tried. Let me finish. I tried to boot into Windows. Okay, it would force me. I would have to tell it to not update because if it updated, it would not boot. Go into recovery mode and then wipe
Alright.
out everything I have on the drive to reload freaking Windows 10.
Time out here. So
Yeah.
when you got this machine and it
Yeah.
had that spindle drive in there, did it have
Yes.
Windows 10 on it? Did it boot?
It did.
So why didn't you boot it up and then
Yeah,
download
just throw the old drive back in there.
But that's what I ended up doing eventually.
No.
Well,
But see, this was the point. I kept thinking like a Mac user instead of a Windows user.
Do you have parallels on one of your computer with Windows?
I don't care. It doesn't matter because I don't have Windows 10 on this iMac. And I didn't want to go through all the hassle of partitioning the freaking Fusion drive in this iMac yet again to put Windows on.
Do you have parallels on your Mac?
Yes. Yes.
What operating system does it boot into?
It doesn't. All I'm basically using it for, I haven't used it for Windows for years. I used to use it for Windows 7 a long time ago.
Okay. Do you have?
It's got Toolbox and all this. It's just it keeps updating itself, but I don't really use it.
Does it have Windows 7 on it?
No. I took out almost all the VMs on this machine because I got tired of every single time I would boot into a VM that I would have to spend a half hour to an hour updating all of its stuff before I could ever use it.
There is a Mac program out there called WinImage that I have. I think it's WinImage. Maybe it's not WinImage. It's a good one. I'll find it later. But
so you can create it. You can create an image of the ISO.
No, this is a different one.
And plus also the Mac OS will no longer natively through disk utility allow you to
WinClone.
Create an NTFS volume.
Right. There's a program out there called WinClone. If you ever want to do that, I think they have a free.
I don't ever want to do that again. That's the point.
Is it done?
What it is done. It is done. The only thing I have to do now is to open the machine, back up one more time, and take out the spindle drive. And I've got a cart coming for the SSD because it's a 3.5 inch cart that's in the machine. Not that it really matters because I can just basically plug it in and just leave it hanging there because there's nothing else that's really there.
I'm surprised you said you found the bus for the CD-ROM drive?
Yeah.
What?
It's running on the same bus as the spindle drive.
I'm trying to envision a laptop. In a computer, yeah, but on a laptop.
It's not a laptop. It's a desktop. Small form factor.
I thought it was a laptop.
No, my God.
It's a desktop. He said Optiplex. I knew right away.
This would have been done in 2 minutes. What are you doing?
Yeah, that's what I said. That's why I was shaking my head the whole time.
The whole point of this was I was thinking like a Mac user and not as a Windows
desktop.
user. Yeah. It's a small form factor, small form factor desktop.
They're like this. I have no work. I mean,
it's got one drive bay, and then it's got right above that, it's got a CD-ROM drive. It's super. This thing is so easy to get into. There's a lever on the side that takes off the entire side.
Pro.
It's well designed.
Enterprise grade.
Super well designed.
And then a
single screw with a little thing that you flip over, and then the whole drive bay comes out.
The Latitude series of Dell's easy to get into. I have replaced system boards in those. They're easy.
I have
they design them.
My Plex server is over there. It's a mini PC. Over there.
Anyway, and not everybody's disappeared because we're talking about this.
Yeah.
Well, then they missed out on some really good stuff because this was funny.
Yeah, Frank. Next, Jerry Springer.
It was funny for me to listen to this. Anyways. Yes.
All right. I think it's time to say goodbye.
Stay away from Windows.
We can
stay
talk
away
after.
from the Windows.
I'm actually it's not bad. I mean, I use Windows 10 at work, and it's fine. I'm not one of these Mac users that
Nor am I.
paint a cross on my forehead. Microsoft bad, blah blah blah. Who cares?
Nor am I.
You buy and the whole point of the other whole point of this is you don't need to have regardless of what operating system you're on, you don't need to have the very latest and greatest computer to get the stuff done that you want to get done. This is a 7-year-old Windows PC. It's running Windows 10. It's got a quad core processor, 8 gigs of RAM, 500 gig spindle SSD drive.
Wait till next year when Microsoft drops Intel support for ARM. Then you're stuck with a paperweight. And on that note,
yeah, we're gonna give this put this thing to bed. So Warren, if people wanted to get a hold of you, damn it, how would they do it?
I would suggest they don't do that at all.
Oh, okay, good. Dave, how can people get a hold of you?
In Touch with iOS, intouchwithios.com. New show coming up tomorrow. They come to the website, and DaveG65 is my Twitter handle.
Okay. If you would like to view this later on, besides other than Facebook, it's going to be over there on the YouTubes. You can find it by going to VertShark or look me up there, Guy Serle, and then hit that button to like, share, subscribe. If you need to see it again, like, share, subscribe. That's all you got to do. Email address, guy@mymac.com. I'm on the Twitters, VertShark and MacParrot. I have my newly designed website, vertshark.com, guaranteed not to make your eyes bleed. So careful, that got me in trouble over on YouTube.
We like getting in trouble.
We played too much of that particular theme, and the particular company that particular company that has that franchise got very angry with me. And so please don't play more than 2 or 3 seconds of that, or I get in trouble. So that is going to do it for tonight. Thanks to everyone who came and saw us tonight and listened to me rant and rave. That's always fun. That is always fun. So join us again. Now, of course, go and see Dave and Warren tomorrow night for In Touch with iOS. Check Gaz and I out. We're going to record another MyMac.com podcast, which will be up on YouTube. The audio and video part of that will also be up probably Sunday or Monday over on vertshark.com. Vertshark.com is where you can go to see all of this stuff, including both the audio and video for Guy's Daily Drive and the Mac to the Future. Livecast, go. And that's going to be it. Look for Guy's Daily Drive and the Mac to the Future, Livecast, go, audio in your podcatcher of choice. And that's going to do it for tonight. Thank you, Warren. Thank you, Dave. I know we're running really, really late. Thanks to everyone who came and spent some time with us tonight. And we'll see you all next week. On the Mac to the Future Livecast. Go.